Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're in episode number 107. My name is Craig Perales. Joining me, as always, is Mandrew Montemayor. And I just got to say, we're a little behind in terms of recording. Our episode is usually, recorded like on a Friday. Today's actually a Monday. Andrew and I both did have some family come into town, so we decided just to enjoy our weekend. Cien came into town, so we had some friends in, and just kind of kick back. We figured we'd give you 2 episodes this week. This episode is still going to give you a chance to enter in the contest, but overall, did you have a good weekend?
The reality is, I decided to call it quits on the show and try and go solo, but the solo career didn't work, so I'm back here now on this fine, glorious Monday.
Yeah, I had to get my dignity back when I begged them to come back to the show, but I don't know, overall, though, did you have fun? I know you took a tumble. You want to tell anybody about it?
I was playing football with my brother, who's like 2 years younger than me, and then my little brothers that are like 12. And so we'll each choose one, and then we do like an all-time quarterback. And we play in my mom's driveway, which goes like at a slant and then straight.
Hard slant.
And I was running like uphill because I got by my brothers, and the older one, I got one hand. We play 2-hand touch. He got one hand out though, like on my back, but I was on the edge of my toes. That it fucking knocked me over because I was running uphill, and so now I have like a huge gash on my hip, and I tore a hole in my shirt and a big old bruise. So other than that, though, the weekend was really good. I had my once a year. Usually I have them once a year for some reason. Cactus Cooler, as good a soda as that is, I could not drink that soda like all the time for some reason. I feel like it's a special occasion soda, so that was my special occasion this weekend.
Nice. Yeah, I know the UFC fights were there, so a big group of us got together at my brother's house. We watched that. So overall, it was a nice little weekend, had family, and we are now back to give you this episode, and then later on this week you'll have episode 108. So we just wanted to clarify that's why we're a little behind schedule this week. So with you guys watching YouTube right now, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already, and definitely jump in those comments and leave any comment you want. Andrew and I love to get down there and interact with you guys. If you guys are listening to the audio only version of the podcast, check out Anchor, which is the new home for us that will also direct you to Spotify and like Apple Podcasts if that's where you want to look at it. And if you guys are interested in helping the show grow, you can jump on there and support us for as low as 99 cents a month. And if you're interested in checking us out on any of the social medias, we've got our Linktree link in the description that'll take you to our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter, so you can check out all the fun we have across all the platforms.
And I don't think we say it enough, but I mean, if you have friends or anyone else that you think would enjoy something like what we do, share it, because that helps the channel grow and that helps us give more back to you.
Back to you. So, when we do these shows, guys, we like to have a drink of the week, and this one was actually picked out by my mom, Lisa. She likes to go to the store. She knows we do the show, so she likes to just get us random beers just so we can try something we've never tried before. And I do use Beer Advocate lately to just kind of look at these beers, which this one is called the Sound of Freedom IPA. Weirdly enough, though, there's no score, there's no picture, and there's like no notes on this thing. So
that should have been our 4th of July beer.
Yeah, this one's kind of odd. So it's an IPA American. It's a 7% beer. That's Big Boy Temple right there. It's brewed from the State 48 Brewery, and it's out of Arizona, and its availability is a rotating seasonal. So it wasn't in the show. It was right before we started recording. When we opened these things started cooking like a grenade and would bubbling up all over the place. So we had to hurry up and drink them. So I just want to give you a reminder: if we do pop your second one, just prepare to slurp it down like a soda.
I'll tell you right now, the reason it probably popped is all the fighter jet fuel in here, because it says on here that these beers are named after the F-35 Lightning II fighter jet, which fly over our original brewery on Surprise, Arizona.
Nice. So if you guys, I've never heard of these before, so they taste good to me. Andrew says he still can't really taste it or enjoy the crispiness of an IPA, but for me, so far, it's a really good tasting beer.
Yeah, there's some things that are still like hit or miss for me, and with this, I don't know if it's just me or the COVID taste, but it tastes just like, I can just tell that I'm drinking an IPA, but I can't. It says it's mango citrus. I can't really taste that.
Yeah, so if you guys got a recommendation for any drink for us to have during the next episode, jump down in the comments in YouTube and let us know what you recommend.
So ship it to Craig's address and we'll leave it out in the hot sun.
The hottest of suns here. So before we get into our main topic, guys, we'd like to do a segment called What Are You Up To?, where Andrew and I briefly discuss what we've been playing, what we've been watching, if we got any cool plans coming up. So
I would like you to go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing on this one. So watching, I did catch up on my what ifs. I did catch up on the Killmonger episode, which is actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. And then there was the Thor episode, which was kind of a letdown. But the news show that came out on Disney Plus is Star Wars Visions, and it's unlike the other shows that like drop one episode at a time. They actually drop the whole season. So
I did see that.
Yeah, it's 9 episodes, and it's done by every episode is a different animation style from these different places. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, here's what it says. So it says, produced by Lucasfilm Animation, the series consists of 9 short films produced by 7 Japanese animation studios: Kamikaze Doga, Studio Colorido, Geno Studio, Trigger, Cinema Citrus, Production IG, and Science Saru, each telling their own original stories based on the Star Wars universe. So they go from anywhere from like 13 minutes to 24, so you could really sit down and bang this thing out pretty quickly. I'm only on the first 3 episodes. So the first one was the kind of that notorious black and gray samurai looking one that was in the trailer. Mm-hmm. It was badass. That was, I mean, I've only on 3, but that one so far was the money runner. The second one was kind of this cool rock band episode, and the third one is about these 2 twins born from the dark side, like genetically created from the dark side. So not all the animation is like the best, at least in my opinion. Like they don't hit me. Like especially episode 3, I thought that was gonna be my favorite. It actually was kind of like my least favorite, but interesting idea. I like that they're doing something that is kind of different from normal Star Wars. So I know you wanted to check it out, and I hope you do maybe this weekend.
Yeah, I'll say it really actually reminds me of like when they did that Halo movie that has all the different art styles that tell all the different stories. Or they actually did a second Dead Space movie that I don't think really has anything to do with the first, besides being the fact that I can't really remember it, but the fact that it's in the Dead Space universe. But they also did the same thing where they do different art styles, and not all of them are like hand-drawn. Some of them are like a 3D whatever. So I actually like kind of that take. It's on my watch list. I'm just stuck being boring right now and playing games. So I don't feel like watching anything or starting anything new in my life.
Well, what else are you watching? And then we'll circle back to what we're playing, because we both beat the same thing recently. So what have you been watching?
I actually restarted Death Note again because I watched so much TV during when I was like sick with COVID that I kind of just don't really feel like starting anything yet. So I've just been putting on things that I already like know by heart. I truly love Death Note, the series, not the movie, because the movie was not good. But I've been trying to keep up on my YouTube. There's another YouTube channel, obviously way bigger than us. They're called Gamers. It's GVMERS, and they do like little gaming documentaries that can be from like 20 to 30 minutes. And they just did one on the Riddick games, Butcher Bay and Escape from Athena. And I've never played those, but I hear people say that got great reviews. I always hear people talk about how good they were, and it was a really cool watch, and it was really cool to see how invested Vin Diesel is, because it was going into, I didn't even know that he had his own studio, so that way he could kind of help control like the quality of these IP and what they're doing. And cool. They talk about how hands-on and professional he was when doing all the recording, and treated it almost as if it was as important as the movie without even knowing where it was going to go. So it was really cool. I recommend definitely going and checking that out.
Nice, yeah, because that sounds really cool. I like that he's kind of more hands-on with that. So, and then a game that Andrew and I both recently played and beat was Death's Door, 100%. Which is developed by Acid Nerve. It's a $20 game right now. I highly suggest you guys check it out if you're at all interested in it. I was looking up to see how well it was doing. It sold over 100,000 copies in its first week, so they're definitely doing good. It's a Metroidvania game that kind of deals with death, and you're this reaper that has to go collect these souls that kind of refuse to die. And then when you the more you unlock the story, the more you kind of know why these characters are who they are and they're doing what they're doing. It's got a really good like puzzles, good combat, good graphics. Again, the Acid Nerve, it's a 2-man team, so 2 guys sat and developed this whole game. Andrew and I both 100% of this game. It's fantastic. It's easily going to be a Game of the Year contender. Probably one of the best indies I've played in a long, long time.
Yeah, this game definitely is for sure like in my Game of the Year talks, and I would like for them to maybe create some sort of sequel. But if they do a sequel, I don't know that I would want to see it be bigger than what this is. I think the scope of what this game was is what made it so perfect. It had that Dark Souls vibe without being this extra large, tremendous fucking uphill mountain that I have to climb like Dark Souls. It was that perfect, I don't want to say bite-sized, but slightly bigger than. It was the perfect meal.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of different things you can go find and collect. It's got a good magic system. It's got good things. If you want to go like level up certain things, you can go back to certain levels and grind. But then there's finding like, I wouldn't say that there's so much like hidden bosses, or would you like to upgrade the hook shot? And like, what would you call those hidden bosses?
Yeah, some of them were. Yeah,
because I mean, and some of those are actually the hardest fights in the game. And Andrew and I both did it to where you use the weakest weapon in the game to get the achievement. But there's 3 or 4 other weapons you can find, so it would be interesting to kind of play it, you know, the way it was intended to, and kind of experiment with everything. Because I didn't use the sword until like after you beat the game, and it fucking was doing gangbusters damage.
That's my only complaint, but I don't feel that it's a very valid complaint. Because I wish that achievement kind of hadn't been there. Because there's certain games I will play more than once. This is not like one of them. Right. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna do the umbrella, whatever. But I did find myself like halfway through, like, fuck, some of this is a little harder than what I feel it should be. But it's fine. I can do whatever. But I wonder if I'm getting the same enjoyment as I'm like finding all these cool weapons. Actually, after the game, after I beat it and I got the achievement, I gravitated towards the little, like, I tried using the greatsword, but then I gravitated towards like the little kunai sharp weapons, because I could get like 3 or 4 hits in to replenish my magic and then back off and just keep shooting them with the speed that I would normally try to hit 1 or 2. I'm getting 4, magic missiles.
Nice. So yeah, I would say, guys, go check it out. It's $20 if you guys are looking to support them and you want a cool little Metroidvania game to play.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah. The other good game I've been playing is, well, at least good to me, not so much to everybody, is Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is by Blizzard Entertainment and Vicarious Visions. Yeah, it just dropped on September 23rd. I've been playing it with Geno. I've been playing it with Christian. I've been playing it with Josh. So it's a good game to group up.
Josh Ragnar?
Yeah, Ragnar.
Okay, I seen you in that, and I want to jump in, but I was like, I don't know who that is. So,
so I believe it holds up to 8 players that you guys can team up with. It's good. I think one of the criticisms I have is it's just kind of a little too faithful to the original one. Like, there's a couple like quality of life things they could have done. I wrote down a couple just to point out. One is that there's this stamina bar that just constantly drains, and you gotta get stamina potions, and you gotta build it up. So it's just like, why even have that? Why not just have a run button? Like, get rid of that. I'm constantly slowing down, and then you have to walk, and you have to let it build back up, then you can run again. That was one thing I found extremely irritating. The other one is that when you die, all your stuff drops, and you have to run back and get it. So if you are in a dungeon or something that's high level, you actually have to go run back and pick up all that stuff, because Deandra was playing it, and she died, and I didn't know that your stuff fell. So when she was playing, and I went back to look at her character, I'm like, oh, would you sell your weapon? You don't have any gear. Like, where's all that shit? I'm like, oh, don't tell me that it drops, and you actually got to go get it. So I thought,
I kind of like that.
Oh, I don't know. On a game that's that old, like, I don't know if that's something you want to be wasting time on. And one of the other ones was, when you have multiple people in your game, there's no individual loot. So if you have that guy that runs in there and just swoops everything up, you can still lose a lot of that stuff. It's not shared, so it's constantly going.
Can you trade it?
Yeah, you can trade it, but it's like, if there was just individual loot, like, it would just be a time saver. So there's a couple more things that I could go into, but maybe we'll do a Diablo 2 review. But those are just a couple of things. But I thought they could have improved it. But overall, the game is still how I remember. It's still a lot of fun. And when you're playing it with a couple of good buddies, it's still a lot of fun to enjoy. So if you guys were looking forward to Diablo 2 Resurrected, it is out and you can play it now. What else were you playing? Where was that?
I actually just got Lost Judgment, which dropped on Friday. So that's a sequel to Judgment, which of course is a spin-off of the Yakuza series. And it's exactly what I'm wanting. It's more of what it was. Right now, I'm actually, it's super weird. So I'm not doing some of the story stuff. I kind of progressed the story a little bit because I had to. And I find myself gravitating away from the story to, I'm in this high school as like an advisor, because I'm already trying to solve like something with a case that's there. But now I'm a part of like the mystery club, the dance club. I'm trying to unlock the robotics club. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, how can I improve my dance rating now and learn these moves and stuff? So I'm doing more of that stuff and finding myself, either way, I'm just having a blast with the game. So if it's something that you were maybe waiting on and you weren't sure it was going to be as good, I know some people were kind of like dogging on, oh, well, maybe they don't handle this situation right or that situation right. I think if that's all you focus on narratively wise, you might have a problem. But I kind of take it into consideration, like, okay, like, it's Japan, so they have a very different social climate than what we do. So I can get past whatever these things are. Whether or not that makes it okay or whatever is a different discussion. But so far, I haven't had any problems, and I'm loving it, and I can't wait to get home and keep playing.
Nice. I like all of that. So that's what we've been up to. That's what we've been playing. That's what we've been watching. Leave down in the comments below what you've been playing and what you've been up to, and we'll have a conversation about it. So moving into our main story, it is pretty much a quick recap of the Nintendo Direct, which was on September 23rd. Andrew and I pretty much just took the 2 biggest pieces of news that were in this that we're going to discuss, and then we just took one game each that we kind of caught our eye and that we want to kind of shed a little more light on. But there's a ton of more things, and at the end we'll kind of briefly gloss over what else was there. But this thing was presented by Yoshiaki Koizumi. It was about 40 minutes long. The big thing that everyone kind of took away was that Nintendo's finally jumping back into making movies again, and Shigeru Miyamoto came out.
I don't see why not. They had the perfect place to. They had the such rich IP.
Yeah, they kind of laid out that they're gonna do a Mario movie, and as everyone remembers, back in 1993, there was a live-action Super Mario Brothers with Bob Haskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, and it tanked. This thing was like, it might be a cult classic now, and there might be some fans that like it and enjoy it, but generally speaking, it was bad. It was a movie that kind of took what should be a kid's film and put like a darker adult tone on it, and it just didn't really work. So Nintendo back then was like, we're done with this. We're not going to get into the business of making these type of movies anymore. This IP is what keeps Nintendo alive and healthy for as long as it has been and as successful as it's currently standing, but that's not to say they haven't dabbled in like cartoons or comics or other media, but
yeah, you have like Pokemon the movie, like big animated stuff, but nothing. I mean, that movie is big then, but I don't feel it's on a grand scale of like what something would release like today. It was almost like if a Yu-Gi-Oh movie were to drop tomorrow, I'd feel like it's on that kind of scale.
So Shigeru Miyamoto comes out and he announces that there's going to be a new Super Mario Brothers, and that it's going to be set for 2022. And one of the things that they're saying is that so not only is it animated, is one of the production companies is Illumination Entertainment, and I think they can definitely capture that look. If you guys aren't familiar with them, they're the company that does movies like Sing, Despicable Me, Minions, The Lorax, The Secret Life of Pets. So they could definitely kind of capture that Mario
for sure
look. I guess before we get into like the cast of who's in it, do you think that's the best move for them to do? An animation movie versus a live action movie, how they used to? Because I would clearly say yes. That way, because you can definitely keep that iconic Nintendo look, bright, colorful, vibrant, and just nail it. So you think that was the best move for them to move forward with?
Yeah, I definitely think it was, especially with the success of movies like Despicable Me, Pets, The Lorax, all those sorts of things are all always, chart-topping movies. I think they can do more with that than they could with something like Sonic, because how do you have, like, this guy fighting Boos? And, that's the thing. Sonic is good. I actually really like Sonic, and I don't know how they made it work. I don't know how you would make a Mario work, because I feel like Mario is just a lot more out there with their craziness. So I don't know. I think it's the perfect way to go.
Yeah, guys, I think a fully animated movie is probably the way to go, because if you do kind of cross it with how like Sonic does it, or even like Detective Pikachu does it, mixing like animation with live actors, I think you'd probably lose something. Where if you can make Mario look like Mario and Luigi look like Luigi, then I think you're moving in the right direction. So with that being, the way they're going to move forward, the next thing they kind of showed off, and what he was like really proud about, was the cast that they have. So the people that they have lined up is Anya Taylor-Joy, who's on Princess Peach. She's hot right now. She just did Netflix's Queen Gambit. I don't know if you saw that, the one about chess.
I haven't watched it, but I knew who she was.
It's good shit.
Only because I see the meme where it's like, if she had a kid with, I forget who it else, because her eyes are really far apart and his are too close together, their kid would have normal eyes.
She does have that look to her. Chris Pratt, who a lot of people are kind of dogging on him right now, but he proved that he can do some good work with the Lego movie. Like, he did a really good good character. Jack Black, who we know is no stranger to doing voiceovers as Bowser, because what was that game? Brutal Legend? Was that the guitar one?
Brutal Legend? I would have gone more Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda is definitely his.
Which actually, I like Kung Fu Panda.
Have you started playing Psychonauts 2 yet?
No.
Okay, he's a voice in Psychonauts 2, and once I realized who he was, I was like, oh, dude, that's badass. So I think Jack Black's probably going to be the backbone of this thing. You've got Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, which I really like that they're like literally saying that, this is all the same universe and there is going to be crossover. Seth Rogen, though, all I'm going to hear is Seth Rogen. He's got that voice that's like, that he did Pumbaa extremely well, but can he do anything else? Do you want Donkey Kong to sound like Pumbaa?
I feel like that was my favorite casting.
Oh, was it? I know it's a lot of other people's favorite too. You've got Charlie Day as Luigi, which I think is probably, at least in my opinion, the most controversial. Like, I love Charlie Day, and I like that voice. I'm one of the few people that like really enjoy when Charlie gets high pitched. I don't know if he can do. Obviously we don't know what these versions of Mario and Luigi are going to sound like, but I know I don't. My first choice wouldn't be make Luigi sound like Charlie.
I just don't want him to be like that, because I know that's kind of like his style of acting the same way. What's that movie that they did with like the Gaiju and the big fucking robots or what
Pacific Rim.
I didn't like him in Pacific Rim, and I was like, dude, every time he's on screen, you fucking suck. Like, I hate it. But then I watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and now going back and watching Pacific Rim, I'm like, okay, you know, it's Charlie Day. He's cool. Like, I love Charlie Day. But I did not like It's Always Sunny at the time, so I hated him. I was like, dude, you're just so fucking annoying that I wonder, I hope that they don't get that effect in there, because you could lose a lot of people with that.
Yeah, and then you have Michael Key from Key and Peele as Toad, and I know they just saw a lot of success being in animation when they did Toy Story. He was Ducky. I know to a lot of people that was their favorite character. So I just don't know if that's how Toad sounds to me.
I was gonna say, how do you feel over this casting?
Well, the weird thing is Charles Martinet is in it. They said he's gonna do special cameos, and if anyone knows who he is, he actually does the voice of Mario and Luigi and Wario and Waluigi in the N64 games. So like when you hear that voice, when everyone goes, "It's me, Mario," like, you know, that voice, like, that is him doing it. So there is a version where we all know, you know, that. I'm surprised they didn't just go with that guy and are kind of banking on high names, because my next thing is, like, I don't mind if you have a lot of these guys. It's just why none of them are like actual voice, you know, like actual, you know, talent that does this specifically. They're just names doing it, and does this take away from the budget? Did you just spend a shitload of money on 9 people who it really doesn't matter if Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong when it could have been somebody else that...
Right.
So I don't know. I'm kind of torn, because I can feel in one way they need that star power to draw to it. They need asses in the seats. This is Nintendo's first big movie since 1993. These names will draw it. But on the other hand, it's like some of these names are questionable in terms of, you know, the voice acting I think they can do. And is that going to take away from the overall production budget that they could have made the movie look better, especially since it's all animation?
I don't know if it'll take away from the budget. I mean, if anyone's got the money for a budget like that, it's them. They're not really my problem, and I don't mind. The more I've thought about it, I'm like, I really don't mind Chris Pratt, because do I really want to hear someone be like, "Oh, it's me, Mario," talking with a lot of dialogue for an hour and a half? I feel like that's a little much for me, whereas I can see him perfectly for Wario with his 10 minutes of cutscenes, or Waluigi with their 10 minutes. That, I think, would feel a lot better than him doing that. I think my worst actual feeling out of all of them is I'm not really a big Jack Black fan. That I kind of didn't really care. I'm like, really, that's Bowser? Like, that's who I gotta fucking listen to? I'm not the biggest fan of Jack Black. I haven't liked anything since, like, Kung Fu Panda that he does. He's a talented person. He's just not for me, especially when it comes to, like, his music and stuff like that. It's just not for me. So I can understand that people love him. I'm not really crazy about it.
Yeah, I wonder if that would actually have the backfire effect, where they're using it, you know, the Gambit's kind of, let's put all these big names in here to draw people to it. But on the, you know, the other hand is, how many of these names are people not going to like and go, "Oh, I don't like Jack Black. I don't like Charlie Day. Now I'm not going to go see this movie." So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I think for the most part, it looks okay until we see it. Obviously, as soon as we see a trailer, we can go, okay, now for sure, I don't like the way Luigi sounds. I for sure don't like Mario. But just going off what we're looking at, because then you even got Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, Sebastian, I always fuck this guy's name, but Maniscalco as Spike. You know what I mean? So again, like, trying that Cranky Kong, it looks like this is going to be a pivotal moment that's going to start branching into more Nintendo worlds. Because if we're already getting Mario and Donkey Kong together, then we can just kind of assume that maybe they're going to do, I don't want to say a Smash Brothers down the line, but we can at least see a Kirby, you know, everyone's been waiting for a Link, you know, a Zelda movie. So I don't know if this one does well, and I'm looking forward to it. We could definitely see it move that way. But on paper, from what it was, I don't know if I would have picked all these different names to kind of fill these spaces when I don't think you really need them. If the movie just said Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy, and then the rest was all trained voice actors, I think I would have been a little better than that, than peppering it with names that I don't know are completely necessary.
I think it's all right, and I think that, more importantly, the first trailer that we see for this is going to make or break that. This movie's either going to get tons of shit or tons of praise based off the sole trailer, the very first trailer alone. I don't think that there's going to be any, like, it's any in between. It's either going to be kind of like a love or hate. But I do like the idea of, all right, you know, Donkey Kong's in this, so now we can kind of start building out that world to where even, I wouldn't even mind if they did, just off the top of my head, like a Mario Kart in the style of, like, fucking Lightning McQueen, you know, Cars or something like that would be totally cool, because you have all these maps, and Mario, you know, you can have all these people different racing for their different kingdoms, and maybe there's some greater thing at stake. Like, fucking, I don't know, Bowser's gonna marry Peach if Mario loses or something like that. So Mario's the Lightning McQueen of the story. Either way, I would watch that.
Yeah, I definitely would watch it, and I think in the long run...
I mean, Nintendo.
Yeah, it would look cool. It's just, the voices, will always the actors always have really to go on this, and I don't know if... Even if I was going with a star-studded cast, I don't know necessarily if half those voices, half those names...
are necessary.
Who would have been I picked. Who would have been the people that I picked? There you go. That was a mouthful. So I guess the question is, what do you guys think? Do you think this movie's going to do good based on its star-powered draw? Obviously, the trailer is going to tell us a lot. And, it's coming, I'm assuming probably like Christmas next year.
Oh, actually, I had the date written down right here. December 21st, 2022.
Yeah, which is my mom's birthday. So maybe she'll want to go see it. But with that being said, guys, the next big thing out of the direct that I wanted to kind of point some light on is that, a few episodes ago, we were talking about how the Nintendo Switch online service was looking at expanding, and the original part was going to be with Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, but during the Direct, they showed that they're doing an expansion pack for the online service, which is going to start including N64 games and Sega Genesis games. So I just wanted to read off real quick to you guys what those games are going to be, and then we can kind of discuss if we think it's even going to be really worth it. So the launch lineup for the N64 games are Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Sin and Punishment, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis 64, Winback, Yoshi's Story, with an upcoming slate of games being Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, F-Zero X, and then the Sega Genesis games were Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Musha, Phantasy Star 4, Rystar, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master, and Strider. So, on paper, all, I would say, pretty decent looking games, but this is nothing new. Half these games are have been on emulators that people have been playing for years. Almost all of these Sega Genesis games are already on a version of a Sega Genesis,
collection
that you can already get. I've been playing all these games on Xbox hits that are from Sega. So I don't know. You see the lineup of the games. Do you think it's going to be worth being a second add-on? Because as of right now, the Nintendo Online subscription is $20 for the year. And what they said is this is going to be an add-on service. So not only do you need the online service, but it's going to be an additional cost, which they said it didn't include the price. They said coming up is going to be what it's going to cost. And even though $20 a year isn't that bad, it's definitely the smallest out of all the subscriptions compared to Xbox and Sony. I just don't know. Let's say it was another $20 to add all those. So $40 a year. I don't know if all these games are really worth it. I mean, they're great titles, but they're old. I mean, literally old. Everything we pay for on Xbox and PlayStation are generally pretty current games. The Game Pass offers things day and date. I don't know why I'm paying more money for games that are just decades old. Do you see it differently?
No, that's the same argument that I made last time. It's not to be that guy or anything, but I'm not impressed by any of that or excited for it. As a matter of fact, it's the same thing I said with the Game Boy games. This should have already been on there, and now you're wanting me to pay more for older games. And these are all games, by the way, that are huge, huge games that anyone would have played them has already played them. And I understand that there's a whole generation of people who haven't played them yet, but for a service that is already mediocre and kind of subpar compared to what other people are offering. And I don't even mean in terms of online play or games that are, when I pay online for, Xbox, and this is not even a conversation we brought up. When I pay online for Xbox, I play Halo, Battlefield, Call of Duty. When I pay online for, the Switch, I get to play Mario Kart and Mario Party online. There's no big shooters or anything like that on there. So it's not like they're hosting this crazy infrastructure so I can play with everybody else. But on top of that, now you're just going to give me these weak games. I think this is all something that should already be included with it, especially on top of the fact that they still don't even have of any sort of voice feature. You have to download an app to your phone to be able to fucking talk to people. And I've heard that's even finicky at best.
Yeah, and some of the rumors are saying that they're still going to add on the Game Boy games, but they didn't kind of want to conflate the two or get them confused, and that the Game Boy games would still be included in the original Switch Online. So if you're still just paying the $20, it'd be included in that. But yeah, the 64 and the Sega games being added, I'm not sure I get why. Maybe the 64 games, but the Sega games should just be another pack added with the Nintendo, because on top of that, they're also saying that they're going to do a release of controllers, one 64 and one Sega Genesis. Obviously, you know, they're wireless, but they're going to be $50 each. And the part I'm not sure I understand is it says alongside the new old games and the fresh online tier, this is from Engadget, by the way, Nintendo is rolling out wireless N64 and Genesis gamepads just for the Switch and only for online subscribers. The controllers are $50 each and will require a Switch Online membership to purchase. So it sounds like these things won't even be available at a GameStop. It sounds like you have to go online, at least the wording, this is what it sounds like to me, and then they have to verify that you're even a Switch Online membership to order the controller. So, which is even more kind of peculiar. Now to play these games, you're getting another $100 out of me just to get one controller, and if I want to play Mario Kart with a buddy like anyone would, it's $100 just to play a few of these games.
With a controller that my memory is, they're kind of atrocious. Like, I can go back and kind of deal with the 64, but if you gave me the choice of playing Banjo-Kazooie now on the Xbox and just remap the buttons, I'll do that instead of buy a fucking $50 controller just so it feels like when I was 8.
I think that's outrageous. $50 for a replicate Sega Genesis and 64 controller that is a must-have to play it, and you have to be online to do it. So it just seems like for a tier subscription system that's the shittiest out of all of them, it seems like they're making you pay the most to try to get the most benefits, and I just don't know if that's the right move for Nintendo when we already have excellent services on other platforms that just aren't demanding a buy-in at this point.
Right, and I think that's
at least that high of one.
That's a more important thing to recognize too, is compared to these other platforms with the Game Pass, with PS Now, you get more and more recent stuff, and I mean everything's at least a couple years at the oldest. It's not like Xbox is saying, hey, get excited because we're bringing well, they did already bring all the old games into it, like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that, but that was at no extra cost. I didn't have to pay a higher premium on Game Pass to play a game that came out when I was still in high school versus these guys are trying to get you to pay even more for games when I was in fucking junior high and middle school. Yeah. So
I don't know. I
guess that's the same thing. What's below that?
Grade school? Elementary?
Whatever, yeah.
Preschool, K? I don't know. I think it's about time that they're adding more. It's just this isn't the way to do it. A $50 buy-in for a controller plus an add-on membership pack to play games that are great but just old. So I don't know. I took it as like cool idea, extremely poor execution.
That, and I think a lot of these games too, on top of the fact that Ocarina of Time, you could already have gotten it on a 3DS, which I'm sure is going to be an arguably better experience than what you're going to get on the Switch of a port of a 360 ROM that they sued a site to take down. But hey, I downloaded it first before we sued you, so I got mine.
Yeah, so guys, let us know in the comments below if it's something you were interested in, plan on getting, or if you're kind of thinking this was a bad move, is kind of like how we are in terms of the buying point. Obviously, we're going to see later down the line of how much it's actually going to be. If it's a $5 add-on, maybe it's not as bad as we're making it out to be. But if it's anything higher than $20, I think that's just way too much to demand people to play a handful of games that you can play pretty much anywhere else. So
I would cancel my Switch Online now if I wasn't too lazy to log into my account and hit the thing, and it's just easier for me to let them just rob me every month. So
yeah, so we also want to pick out 2 games that caught our eye during the direct. Andrew, what game caught your eye?
So mine is actually the Castlevania Advanced Collection. Now, this is not only for Switch, it is out now. It is only $20. This is also out on PlayStation and Xbox as well. So what this game is it's got 4 Game Boy versions of Castlevania, obviously ported over. I like the idea that this kind of opens the conversation to, hey, let's get the DS ones out there as well. But what this comes with is Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and Dracula X, which is pretty much like Rondo of Blood. So if you're a big Castlevania fan like I am, I know some of these games are good, and a couple of them aren't on top tier, but it's better than anything Castlevania related that we've got recently besides the anime. So I'm super hyped for it, and again, at $20 for 4 games with like a full achievement list, I'm all for that.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I went back and saw it again, and it was saying that like it's all like it it was like the European ones, like everything was unlocked. It was
I got that here. Yeah,
all the regions.
It's got all
region unlocked or something.
All regional versions are on there for what you want to play. But it also comes with quick save functionality, so you can save anywhere without having to trek back and forth. It's got a rewind feature, so if you die, maybe take a hit you didn't want to, you can rewind it a few seconds, Prince of Persia style. There's like a gallery in there where you can go check out like art and music and all kinds of stuff.
Never before seen, right?
Yeah, so it's cool that they've got like some modern things to make. As much as I'd want to play it, and I would have played it without these features, I'm stoked to know that, cool, I don't have to trek back all the way through here and up there just to get to the save. I'll just save right here, and then I'll jump on tomorrow. Or, fuck, damn it, I died, but this dude's almost dead. Let me rewind it a few seconds, and I'll jump this way, and then maybe kill him.
Which I think some of those games, that's just how they should be played. You know, this isn't 1980-something. This isn't 1990-something. Like, if you want to play the game and enjoy it and learn it faster, I have no problem with games that have those kind of features. Like, I know a lot of, even the Switch Online games, like when you're playing a Mario game or something like that, you have those rewind features. So it kind of just seems that those kind of older collections, this is just how they're gonna. It's gonna come equipped with that moving forward. I'm
just super impressed that they know they're worth at $20. So that makes it a super easy decision to buy in. So we'll definitely be getting that. And go ahead with yours.
So mine, guys, is that there's a new racing game called Chocobo GP, which is developed by Square Enix, set to release in 2022, and it looks like the Final Fantasy version of Mario Kart, which, to me, make sure you be careful. Mine still exploded out of that.
Really?
Yeah, and so you gotta be quick, gotta be tough with the scruff.
It feels tight.
Andrew's opening up his beer. We're gonna see if it's gonna sizzle. Yep, You gotta hurry. You gotta get it. So, if you guys are interested in Mario Kart games, you know, it sucks that there's only a few out there in the world. Like, you've got your Crash games, you've got your Diddy Kong Racing, you've got Mario Kart, but I felt like they've kind of had the throne for too long, and if you're gonna do another game like it that has a colorful cast of characters, then you know, Final Fantasy is a perfect one to choose because, let's see, did I already get rid of it? What they had was like Vivi was on there, and you know, there's maps like Alexandria and stuff like that. So
yeah, I saw it. It looked really cool.
Yeah, and some of the things they were doing was like, instead of doing like the shells and the banana pills, they're doing like spells and like summons to kind of hit people. So I thought the mechanics looked super cool. I thought one of the cool aspects was you can do like a 64-person run. It was like an 8x8 elimination tournament.
Yeah, so that
every
pretty
person
cool
can
too.
do in their own little bracket.
It's like a battle royale.
And then the top three go move to the next one, move to the next one. So I don't know. I just thought those characters are extremely cool to see. The cards look really cool because I know there was like the Chocobo, there's like the Mecha Chocobo, there was I'm trying to think of some of the other. I think Bahamut was one of the players.
Pretty sure like Gilgamesh is like
it looked really sick. So I'm surprised no other like franchises taking their characters and put them into something like this.
Besides Crash Bandicoot?
Well, yeah, because the other thing I was looking at is like, is this going to be an exclusive? Because it doesn't seem like it's going to any other platform. But
I was wondering that as well too.
I was curious about, you know, how are they able to lock that behind Nintendo, and why would you?
Maybe
if it doesn't have to be.
I wonder if maybe they just took it as like, okay, well, here's kind of our Mario Kart technology, because the way that the drive and the carts looked seemed a lot like Mario Kart. Even having the people have individual abilities is something that they took back in Mario Kart Double Dash. Like, if you're the Mario babies, you can bring out, like, the Chain Chomp. I forget who it is that throws, like, a big giant bomb. But I do like that you brought up, like, if there's another rich, like, history to take from Final Fantasy is it. Because the first thing I noticed, and I know you're not as, like, big on it, for me, was the video game music. Because that's what stands out the most. Like, I'm constantly listening to video game music.
Like certain tracks.
So, yeah, listening to the track and having the classic Final Fantasy, just the prelude playing, or they did another one and it was like a song from Final Fantasy VII, but it wasn't just a straight up song. Obviously, they remixed it and made it feel a little bit more carty. I was like, damn, that's really cool. That gives me vibes of music that I already love, and now that's almost like Mario Kart, because I love Mario Kart's music, and that's a game where like I don't care when they reuse those tracks, because they're so iconic for me.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I think, you know, if it is going to be an exclusive, it looks like they are using like some sort of Nintendo engine to make it run the way that a Mario Kart looks. But
surprisingly look good.
Yeah, so I thought I had the page and I just found it right now. So the characters are going to be Chocobo, Camilla, Steiner, Vivi, Gilgamesh, Sharoma, Behemoth, Mog, Dungeon Hero X, Ramu, Fat Chocobo, Mecha Chocobo, and Sid. And that's just from the trailer. I don't know if this is everything.
I'm sure they'll add more, because there's no like other main heroes in there, like Cloud or anybody.
Exactly, like names. And then the racetracks that they showed off were Sid's Test Track, Zozo, Alexandria, and the Gold Saucer. And then the magic they showed that you're able to use is all three versions of Fire, Arrow, and then Doom. And again, I believe that's just what the trailer was able to kind of show off and what people were able to find. But I mean, yeah, why not grab another thing that looks like it could be just as good as a Mario Kart? And I'm curious if they'll do something that kind of like cross-pollinates with another franchise, because the reason why Mario Kart's excellent is because it does have Donkey Kong in it, and it does have Link in it, you know what I mean?
Right.
It does have all these other characters that you can play that aren't just Mario, where Final Fantasy, as much as any RPG player would like them, like Andrew's saying, none of these are named faces. None of these are your Clouds, your Sephiroth, your Squall. So it's going to be curious to see what they end up doing with it, but I think it's a perfect time to launch something like this and give us another good kart racer. So those are the two games that Andrew and I kind of wanted to shed some light on. Again, there was a ton of other stuff on there. They had the new Kirby game that looked awesome.
Looked great.
The new Bayonetta. They ended with Splatoon. They had that new RPG card game. They had Triangle Story. I think they started with that Monster Hunter Rise Sunset or something like that.
Yeah, the expansion.
So they had a lot of good stuff. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, the link will be in the description. So normally we would jump into riffs, but we're going to skip riffs this week just because we've been kind of postponing fan questions. So we're going to take time real quick and answer some questions, and then we'll end the episode for you guys. So question 1 comes from Divine Anchor, and they write, question for you guys. Do you ever use a guide when playing games? Sometimes I feel conflicted doing so, but don't want to spend 5 hours trying to solve one puzzle. Looking forward to the giveaway. I think we've had a question similar to this, but the answer is this day and age is yes. Like Andrew and I were already talking earlier, like we both use the guide on Death's Door just because, like, you know, I don't want to go back and try looking for stuff, grinding stuff out when I could just do it in one fell swoop. I don't think there's any shame in it. I don't think there's any stigma to it. It's just how much time do you want to do it on your own versus just enjoying the game and getting it in one swoop.
I think it kind of just depends on what it is too. Like with Death's Door, the perfect example, I would kind of gloss over the guide until I saw the word seed, because you're supposed to collect 50 different seeds throughout this. And I really didn't want to have to go back and try to figure out which one I didn't, which one I did get, whatever. And so I would just play it over there, and then I'd kind of gloss over the guide. And I would kind of maybe read the puzzles a little bit, but most of the time I'm figuring whatever out myself. More now when I certainly don't use guides, especially if it's like a horror game or something that I really feel is going to like ruin the element of it. Like when I did Resident Evil 8, I did all that blind. But when I was playing like Judgment or Yakuza, I use a guide, but I don't actually read it. The other use I use it for is I'll just pull up the chapter and I skim it. And I see how far I'm skimming down, and that gives me an idea of like, okay, it's 10:30. That was pretty long. I don't think I have time to do that before I go to bed, to where if I skim and I hit the bottom really quick, okay, that seems like maybe it's like 20 minutes to 30 minutes, maybe even less than that. Okay, cool, I can knock out at least one more chunk of this game, because there's lots of times where I'm doing that. Even in Death's Door, for some of the chapters, I'd be like, okay, what's the chapter? The first thing I do is just skim to the bottom. Mm-hmm. If there's a shit ton of writing, then I know it's going to be a long chapter. If there's not, then I'm like, okay, cool, I could definitely beat that before I go to bed.
Yeah, and I would also say, like, smaller games like Death's Door, you can, I mean, if you're cruising through that game, it's only, like, less than 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours if you're cruising through it. And those are games, like, I never want to go back and, like, pick all that shit up and do it again. But for the most part, if I'm using a guide at all, it's if I get stuck somewhere. Like, if I get to a certain point and I'm like, I cannot figure this puzzle out, or I can't get past this thing, what am I missing? And then I'll be like, okay, oh, it's this one thing. And then, because generally I like playing a game blind, you know, go in there and handle. But if it's a game like Death's Door that I know I want to get, like, all 50 seeds, then I'm not going to, you know, freely look around and do that. At least these days, you know, we don't have, you know, that kind of time to be running around. And I think it's each their own. I mean, some people like looking for that stuff and finding it out on their own, but like we were talking about that squid achievement, there's no way in hell I would have known to take this squid all the way across the board to get this achievement.
Achievements are different, yeah.
So I don't know. I think the question is yes, but it's not like every game.
Yeah, so it's funny enough that you brought that up too about being stuck, because when I was doing Resident Evil 8, I was stuck on this fucking one puzzle for like 15 minutes probably. And our boy Talha was actually watching my stream, and he was giving me ideas like, okay, try this, try that. And we were trying to figure it out together. And he's like, all right, I'll be right back. And as he went to go look up a guide to try to see how he could do it so I could fucking get the fuck out of there, I happened to figure it out. And he's like, oh, you know, I was just looking that up for you. So shout out to you, man. Thanks a lot. I did appreciate that.
He was your guy in the chair. He was your oracle.
Yeah.
He was looking stuff up. So thank you for the question. Next comes from Christian Vargas and writes, just by looking at the upcoming year till the end of 2022, what game are you more anticipating to play and why? # LastCallX. What are you looking forward to?
I would say I'll go first because I've kind of harped on it enough. Elden Ring. I love Dark Souls, everything related to it. Even when they took a huge step out and did Bloodborne, which was different in a way, but then they went even further with Sekiro, which is completely different than the other ones. It's all been absolute hits, so that's my game for next year.
Yeah, I was going to say things like Forbidden West and like Starfield, but like those are kind of just the big AAA that I know most people are looking forward to. Horizon, I know what I'm going to get out of Forbidden West based on what I played in the previous one. Starfield, if anything's pointing to how Skyrim or Fallout run, it's going to be the space version. The game that might be a little surprising is I'm really looking forward because it's brand new and I haven't been in this and played a game like that in this world, is Hogwarts Legacy. Like, when I saw that RPG mechanic mixed kind of with like the Fantastic Beasts, like you get to do the school, you get to level up your spells, you get to go fight these dragons and stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm really excited to see what that looks like, and the fact that they pushed it back even further just kind of tells me that they know what they've got. They just want to make sure this thing's polished.
Hopefully.
I would say, there's a ton of good things coming out. 2022 is going to be overloaded, so it's kind of hard to
Just
say what
first
the
half
most
is
one
lit,
is. Yeah, but I would say Hogwarts Legacy was a game that like I definitely had my eye on, and I'm extremely interested to see how it's going to play and how it's going to be received, because to me it looked like a lot of fun, and I want to be in that Hogwarts world, so this would be a good way to kind of travel back.
You look like a Hufflepuff kind of guy.
Hey, I'm a born Gryffindor. Next question comes from, and Cian, leave your answer down below. Comes from Joseph Baca, and he writes, "Gonna hit you with a different question. Would you rather get attacked by a great white shark while swimming in the ocean by yourself, or would you rather be attacked by a lion while walking by yourself in the savannah?" I think the answer would be clear, because people can survive shark attacks. I've never heard of anyone surviving a lion attack. Like, I'd hate the ocean, and I'd rather be on physical ground if I'm being attacked by something, because at least I feel like I might in some weird way be able to fight back. But like, you can get bit by a shark and lose a limb, get a cool nub and a cool shark tattoo, and live. I don't know who the fuck's walking away from a lion attack, and more specifically, they generally hunt in a pride of lions, so it's going to be a few things ripping you apart. I would assume if I'm trying to live, I would think the shark attack would be the easier one to swim away from.
I took it more as you're dying either way, and I'm terrified of the fucking ocean. Like, I am terrified of sharks, that I would take the lion no matter what. Even if I was going to be, like, eaten alive or whatever. Or even if you're just trying to survive. I honestly think if it was just a man with a knife, I mean, how many people... we used to kill lions with knives and rocks and shit like that. I've never heard of anyone
being
killing
bludgeoned to death by big fucking rocks.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone going into the fucking ocean with a mallet on a stick rock and killing a fucking great white shark.
Yeah, but we live in days with harpoons and stuff.
Dude, haven't you seen...
they're eating big-ass great white fish for dinner.
If Val Kilmer can kill them in Ghost in the Darkness, then I feel I can too.
Dude, Ghost in the Darkness is wild. If no one's ever watched that movie, go check that out. But
I'll take the lions.
I took it as what was your biggest chance of surviving if you were attacked.
I'll still take the lions.
I would say a shark. Dude, you're not walking away from a lion, man.
I guarantee you I would more than that.
Hey, people can outrun a dog. No one fucks with the lion, kid. So interesting question, and thank you, because we always love kind of those weird off the top zany questions. So the final question for the episode comes from John Tovitz, and he writes, #LastCallX. Do you guys have a favorite villain of all time? It can be a movie or a game. So I just wanted to point out this, because Andrew and I are going to start bringing back this show we had called The Tops, and we actually did a whole top 5 villains that we found in video games. And so I would say my video game answer, I would still hold it close to our Tops episode, which was
it's the same.
Revolver Ocelot is fantastic villain. And one of the things I wanted to point out is like why I like certain villains is like it's got to be motivation. I don't just like, obviously the Joker and shit like that is cool, but like they're just doing acts of evil to do acts of evil, or being bad guys to be bad guys, where I like villains that have like strategic, they have strategy behind it, and in their mind, they're not necessarily the bad guy. They're doing what they think is right. So when you look at guys like Thanos in his mind, if you were to read a book from Thanos' point of view, he's not the bad guy. And it's the group of people trying to stop him, So in a movie, it's called Gangs in New York by Martin Scorsese. I would say Bill the Butcher would be one of my favorite villains for a movie, just because in his mind he's not the bad guy. He's just doing what he thinks is right. But did you have a movie one at all?
Yeah, my movie one, I actually wrote Freddy Krueger.
Because I'm a bad guy to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I love Gangs of New York. I love Bill the Butcher, but I also love somebody who's evil just to be evil, and that's specifically why I chose Freddy Krueger, because Michael Myers is kind of just like doing whatever, but it's on a whole new thing. And Jason Voorhees is almost like a force of nature more than anything. He's not really. I mean, he's a villain just because he kills you, but again, it's like an act of nature. Is a hurricane a villain? You know what I mean? Freddy Krueger is out to be evil just to be evil, and he takes pleasure in it, and that's what makes him an interesting villain. And it's more the dynamic that those other people you could outrun, you could drive a car, you could fucking move to different states, whether or not they track you down, whatever. You have to sleep. There is no getting around that. Even if you take medicine, even if you take whatever, you have to sleep eventually at some time. And that's where you're opposed to, like, fuck, there's nothing I can do about it. And that's why I even liked in the newer movie, I know people didn't like it. I actually did. Is they have a dude in there who stays awake so long that you have something called, like, micronaps where, like, you're asleep but you don't really know it and you're still kind of awake. That Freddy is still kind of fucking with them, and that's kind of the whole philosophy with them too. It's almost like a big joke, I'm doing this or whatever, there's nothing you can do about it, but let's have a few fucking laughs along the way. So that's why I love him.
Nice, excellent question. Leave yours down below. So guys, before we sign off, we are giving away an Xbox Series X, so if you're interested in that, here is how you can enter and how you can win. Hey guys, this is Craig with Last Call Productions, here to tell you about the Last Call Gaming giveaway for the Xbox Series X that we're going to be doing on this channel. But there's a couple of things you need to know in order to win it. First, you must be subscribed. So if you're on this channel, if you're listening to this right now, drop down and hit that subscribe button. The second thing is that this is going to be running on our Last Call Gaming show that we do every week. The contest is going to start from episode 105, and it's going to run all the way to 112. 112 will be your last chance to enter the contest, because on the following week, on episode 113, that is when we're going to announce the winner. Now, to enter, you must leave a comment in each episode that says hashtag LastCallX. That is going to be your valid entry into the contest. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pull one name out of each episode from 5 to 12 and put those names into a hat. And then on episode 113, we're going to pull one lucky winner that's actually going to win this Series X. Now, this contest is going to be open for everyone. All countries are available. If there is any issue, please feel free to email us at lastcallproductions@gmail.com, or you can leave it in the comments down below for any questions, and we will get back to you and let you know for sure. The only hiccups may be shipping or anything that might prohibit us from sending it to your region. And as always, guys, good luck. All right, guys, that is the contest. Make sure you leave down your comments below. Make sure you guys enter, and the best of luck to everybody. So that is the end of this episode, guys. We will see you on episode 108. So until next time, my name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemare. Cheers.
See ya. Yeah, that actually would be perfect.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Why did it do that? You haven't opened yours over the sink.
I don't know, but keep that in the SideReel with that on there.
But I already mentioned that with the SideReel.
So what? It'll be that. It's like Inception. It'll be just as funny. Should I open mine over a sink?
Well, you better get rid of the fucking look. There's like plastic coming off of it.
Is it good?
All I drank was foam. Hurry.
Oh man. This beer already sucks. And it ain't good. And I got it all over my notebook.
Fuck.